welcome. I just finished a K-drama that I really like. It's called The Good Bad Mother, and it's a Netflix original. And it's basically a show about a mother. So this mother, she is a pig farmer in South Korea, and her son is a prosecutor. Now, her husband was murdered before this baby was born, and she was always very worried that the same or similar thing would happen to her son as he got older. So basically, she was worried that the people that were at fault for her husband's death would come after her and her son. So she moves to a completely different city, a completely different like little village, has her baby, raises the baby, and she teaches him only to study so that he can have a better life in the future. And he becomes a prosecutor. So where it gets really interesting is the relationship dynamic between the mother and the son. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but as you can imagine, since she only pushed her son to study and only study, she didn't let him hang out with friends or like do anything just for fun. There might be a bit of a tense dynamic there. So basically, she's been a bad mother, as the title implies. By the end of the show, you can decide for yourself if she's actually a bad mother or not. I won't go into too much more detail because I don't want to spoil anything for you. It is a Netflix original, and it has various elements. So the story is really about the mom herself. However, the son does take a good portion of the screen time. So this show has everything from a romance subplot to a legal thriller going on, and just like small town shenanigans and like comedic effect. It's really a great show. It's about 16 episodes, I believe, and yeah, it's really hard to not think of it as one of my most favorite K-drama, but I feel like I say that for every single drama that I watch because I don't know, I just really like them a lot. But this show, I was not expecting it to make me cry so much. I wasn't expecting it to make me laugh so much. Honestly, I was just expecting I don't know. I expected it to be kind of just like a sitcom kind of thing, but this actually really surprised me in a lot of really great ways. So I think that I will watch it again and make a video about it in the future. So there is a trigger warning in the show for characters that may unalive themselves. So if that's something that you're uncomfortable seeing, or even it being implied, then maybe don't watch this one. It's not like a core thing in the show. It's not happening like every single episode or anything like that, but there are some key plot points that feature characters with the rope. So yeah, if you're uncomfortable with that, don't watch this one. There's plenty of other really great K-drama that I'll talk about here on this channel, so don't worry. So the starring cast here is Rami Ran, Lee Do-hyun, An Yeon-jin, and Yoo In-soo. So if you're a big fan of any of those actors, then you'll be really happy with this one. All the performances are amazing. I promise, they're so good. It is rated TVMA for those rope scenes and also some of the language. If you're anything like me and you don't mind, then I think you'll really love this. Moving on, another K-drama that I just finished this morning actually is called Black Knight. Finished it this morning. It's only 6 episodes, starring Kim Woo-bin, Song Seung-hun, Kang Yoo-suk, and Isom. It's about deliverymen in like a almost post-apocalyptic world. So I think in the beginning it said something like a meteor hit the earth and just destroyed the atmosphere. So now the peninsula of South Korea is turned into a desert, and the air quality is just atrocious. They've built this mega city where people live, and everybody has to wear like these masks that filter out the air, and the deliverymen themselves are delivering like oxygen and other like important supplies like that. So as you can imagine, these delivery men are super important, and it's super hard to become one of them. Now, people are divided into like different caste systems. So there's like the special people, or like the general people, but there's also refugees. Now, these refugees live outside the walls in the desert itself, and they don't have any like identification, I suppose. Everybody else has like a QR code that you can like scan to like, get into places and confirm your order and things like that. It's on the back of your hand like that. The refugees don't, usually. Most of them don't. And so basically they're kind of left to fend on their own. And the only way that they can get like their own apartment or just even live within this city is by becoming a delivery man. And through that, you have to go through like this like televised trial, kind of like a Squid Game type thing where you have to fight off your opponents. I don't think you kill them, but you have to fight off your opponents, be the last one standing, and there's like a driving competition and things like that. So it follows our main character as he follows his dream of becoming a delivery man, but also in the background there's this plot line of the corrupt company that built all of these systems that are in place for air purification. They own the delivery men, they built the city itself, they're building like a giant air core to purify the air and things like that. But of course it's a very corrupt company, and basically the delivery men are trying to expose them and stop them from like their evil plan. It's a very cool show. It does feel like very like, it's like every scene it's like new information, which I think is great, especially for like my hyperactive brain. But you also get the feel that, yeah, this is going to be 6 episodes instead of the usual like 16 to 20 episodes of a K-drama. But I think it's definitely worth it. Moving on. So I have been reading a few books recently. Last time I got paid, I went to Barnes & Noble with my friends and I bought 3 books physically. I bought 3 physical books, and I want to share with you what they are. Ta-da! So this first book is I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Ramit Sethi, and it looks like this. So here it says he's the host of Netflix's How to Be Rich, or How to Get Rich. And I watched that show. I binged it all the way through. It was only like a few episodes, I think, like maybe 6 or 8 or something like that. But I binge watched that show. I just couldn't stop watching because usually like the kind of financial advice that you see online is just like, well, you should stop buying lattes, or you need to invest in like these 8 like things. I don't know anything about investments, dog, and I am not gonna stop buying lattes. Are you kidding? He has a really interesting approach to financial literacy and getting people to, I guess, get on track with their rich life, as he calls it. So far, I haven't gotten that far into this book. I just think that the show is pretty great, and so I'm willing to give the book a chance. And I like these little drawings that are throughout the book. So he basically, he lays out like a 6-week plan, or 8 weeks? Yeah, a 6-week program. And basically throughout the book, there's like little like assignments and things that you can do for each week. And they're labeled like so, like that. I think I won't make a video about it. I think I'll just write like a blog post about it or something, about my journey throughout this 6-week program. Now, I don't know if I'm gonna do it in 6 weeks. It might be 12 weeks, it might be 6 months, but I will finish this book. Don't you worry. Next, we have Iron Widow by Zhuang Zhejiao, and I've been so excited to actually get a copy of this book ever since, honestly, I only heard of her because of a couple of her videos that I've seen here on YouTube. Specifically, there was one where she was talking about how accurate things in Shang-Chi were, and I think that's a great video, so I'll link that one below and let you see that. I have not actually started reading this one yet because I'm reading some other books right now at the moment, but I'm really excited to dive into this one, and I can't wait to talk about it with you here. In Huaxia The highest honor for a young girl is to be selected as a concubine pilot. Supporters paired up with male pilots to power up chrysalises, the giant transforming mechas that humanity relies on to battle the massive aliens that lurk beyond the Great Wall. But the honor often ends in death, and when 18-year-old Zetian's sister is killed by an ace male pilot, Zetian signs up to avenge her. The vengeance is swift, brutal, and unexpected, leaving Zetian labeled as an Iron Widow, a much feared kind of female pilot who can sacrifice boys to power up chrysalises instead of the other way around.
Killing people. No, I'm killing boys.
To tame her unnerving yet invaluable mental strength, she is paired up with Li Shimin, the strongest and most controversial male pilot in Huaxia. But now that Zetian has had a taste of power, she will not cower so easily. She will miss no opportunity to leverage her and Shimin's combined might and infamy, and survive attempt after attempt on her life, until she can figure out why the pilot system relies so heavily on destroying girls' lives and dismantle it for good. Now this sounds like something I can really get behind. And it's got like these like big like giant mechas, and I think there's a romance thing. If I'm correct, I think that this is the book where she was talking about there being polyamory in. I think it's this one. I'll figure it out once I read it, but I think it's this one. I'm not super sure, but yeah. Super psyched. Next. So the book that I've been reading the most has been this one, Unmasking Autism by Dr. Devin Price. So this one has been so interesting to read because I suspect that I might be autistic. So it's really interesting for me to see like all of the other traits that there might be. Dr. Price talks about masked autism versus, I guess, more stereotypical autism that you would see in movies and shows like Atypical or Extraordinary Attorney Woo, things like that. However, masked autism is not the same as the more stereotypical autism. It manifests in different ways for a variety of different reasons. Most of those reasons being that it's overlooked in women, people of color, transgendered people, and other minority groups like that. So like specifically in women, autism can often be misdiagnosed for something like bipolar disorder or borderline personality disorder. So this book not only explains what masked autism is, it also explains how you can live with it if you feel that is if you feel yourself being reflected in this book. It goes over some of the ways that you can, I guess, optimize your life so that everything isn't as like overwhelming and stressful. Now, it is still recommended that you see a professional. Don't just read this book. I do want to make space for self-diagnosis, but I do want people to be thorough in their research. So this one has been really great. As you can see, I'm like halfway through it right now. So the thing with this, I was kind of unsure about if this would even relate to me anyway. So I told myself that I would just underline everything that relates to me, and if I only underline like a sentence here, maybe a word there, something like that, then maybe it's time to just like look at something else, like, I don't know, maybe ADHD and things like that. However, I've actually just been underlining the entire book so far. There's a lot that I've underlined. There's a lot of like extra notes that I've put off to the side. Extra notes that I put off to the side and everything. So you might say that I relate. So yeah, so basically it's just a lot of self-discovery in these pages. I've been giving myself a break on it as of recently, just because I've been only reading that book and I have a lot of other books that I want to read too. Within this book, Dr. Price explains, you know, like I said, unmasking autism and how to, some tools that can make living with it easier. But also there are stories in here from actually autistic people and know I relate to a lot of them, so it's a really good book to pick up. Even if you're just like neurodivergent in general, if you have ADHD or anxiety or anything like that, it's still a good book to read, I think, because you'll get like so much validation out of Dr. Price's words. And yeah, I just think everybody should read this, honestly. Also, look at my bookmark. Sungmin from Stray Kids. I got this at the Stray Kids concert. Actually, it was a handout from some of the fans, and I was actually using the bookmark that they give you at Barnes & Noble, but I lost that. And then I just had this in my wallet, so I was like, let's use this for now. I found the actual bookmark from Barnes & Noble, but I like using this more because it's really cute. And also, when I close the book on it, you see at the top of the bookmark, it just says Stray Kids. So I think that's adorable. So currently, I'm also reading this novel, Mr. Magic by Kirsten White. It's really interesting so far. I'm only on page like 67 out of 295 apparently. So basically this one, it's about, you remember those kids shows like Barney, and so these kids, they were on the show called Mr. Magic, and their little friend group on the show is called The Circle of Friends. And a lot of people that watched the show wanted to be one of the circle of friends so badly. And it was a very beloved show in this universe that, you know, everybody loves, everybody remembers it, but it's very hard to remember specific details. For example, everybody and their mother was in love with Mr. Magic himself, but nobody can quite remember what he looked like or if he was even human. There are other details of the show that nobody else really remembers. There's no recorded evidence of the show even happening. Like, there's no VHS tapes, no CDs, no streaming, no nothing. But everybody remembers that the show definitely happened, except for our main character. She has no idea what's going on. And so, like I said earlier, like all these, the circle of friends on the show, they've all grown up and they have their different jobs and things like that. I think one of them's like an accountant or something. Another one is a movie star, kind of. And our main character, she is a field hand. She works on this land where there's like sheep and chickens and things like that, but mostly there's horses. And she's kind of in charge of working with the horses, but she also helps to run like a summer camp where she teaches kids how to work with animals and they build confidence and things like that. So the book opens when she's doing that. She's teaching the kids and everything. But then when she goes home at the end of the day, she sees that her father has died. And this launches her emotionally, as you can imagine, because at this point it was just her and her father. Her mother's dead. And they're living in this shack on the owner of the land's land. So at the funeral, she's there grieving her father, and then like these two guys show up out of nowhere, and they're like, "Oh my god, we missed you. Are you coming to the reunion?" And she's like, "What the fuck are you talking about? What reunion?" And basically this is where they explain to her that like, hey, you were on a TV show with us, and we're having a reunion on this podcast. Of course, it's a podcast. And she's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. She doesn't remember a damn thing. And the more that they explain things, the more that she realizes that they know her because they're naming like specific details about like her interests and her personality and things like that. So they can't be lying about that. But she does not remember being a child star whatsoever. The only thing she remembers is being on this farm with her father. And these guys, they're on their way to go to this podcast somewhere in Midwest America. I can't remember what state it was. I think maybe Colorado. She's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm leaving this funeral and I'm going with these guys to see what's going on about this podcast. And one of them mentions her mother, who's dead. And she tells them that her mom's dead, but they're like, what do you mean? I talked to her last week. She's not dead. And so that gets her to go along with them because she has to know why her father lied to her about this and also what TV show they're talking about. So that's where I'm at. This is the very beginning. I'm actually a little bit further than that, but I don't want to go too deep into the plot right now because I will make a separate video about it. I don't know if it'll be a review per se, but I will talk about it definitely. It's supposedly one of the hottest horror novels right now. I just kind of like went on Barnes & Noble and went to bestsellers in horror and I just kind of picked one that sounded interesting. And this one piqued my interest because when I'm on YouTube, I'm watching videos about this kind of stuff anyway. Nostalgic TV shows and what was it like behind the scenes? Why did this show get canceled? Channels like Defunctland and things like that. I'm also talking about this all the time with my friend too. And yeah, so definitely like the premise of this has really grabbed my attention and I need to know what happens next. Also right now, in terms of video games, I am playing The Sims as always, but I'm also playing Cyberpunk 2077 for the first time. So far that's an amazing game. I love it so much. I have heard like, I don't know, like mixed reviews about it, especially like when it first came out and it was pulled from PlayStation Store, but now it's back. I bought it like a year or two ago and I'm just now really playing it right now. So I don't know, my V is pretty cool. He's got all these like gadgets. I can't wait to get like the sword arms. I really want that. I want that so bad. Oh my god, I'll update you as soon as I get that. I want it so bad. But the story is amazing. I want to romance a character that's not romanceable and I'm really mad about it. That's where I'm at with my media right now. What media are you into right now? What books are you reading? What shows are you watching? What games are you playing? Let me know and maybe I'll add that to my list myself. Anyway, I don't know how to end this, so I guess I'll see you next time. I don't know what I'm gonna talk about next time really, but it's bound to be something awesome, right?